Okay, good afternoon. How is everyone doing? I'm still trying to get myself set up here, so bear with me. All right, trying to get my camera straight. Okay, not sure if anybody's going to join me today, but I just want to go live and kind of talk to you all about the newsletter this week. Well received. Thank you, everybody, for the support. But today, a couple of big questions, a couple of things I want to reach out to you and talk to you about. Uh, Basically, today's new or Tuesday's newsletter was about um, is success enough? We all are dealing with it. We are going through things in our life. But for you, is success enough? And so we're going to dive deep into that today about the question is whether success versus significance, where does that play out in your life? And so I'm going to go through a few things, but success is what you accomplish basically. And significance is who becomes better because of that thing that you're doing. So when you have a significant life, you're bettering everyone else. So think about that this week and going into next week as we get ready for next week's newsletter. In August, we are strictly talking about purpose and what is your purpose. And so I'm gonna be reaching out to you all and talking to a lot of different people about what is purpose, and it really we got to define what success is and what significance is in our lives. And so I'm going to talk about that quite a bit. As you all know, and if you don't, I retired from the FBI in 2022 and had a great career, a lot of responsibility, a lot of recognition, a lot of success doing what I was doing in the FBI. But I always wondered to myself, is this enough? You know, is this enough for what I was born to do? Am I doing enough? And so through that, questioning all of those things in my life, I realized that um, having a significant life um, means that you're bettering other people. The skills that I obtained in the FBI cannot tell you, like, it was phenomenal. I definitely appreciate it. But that wasn't who I needed to be, right? And so some of us are in these jobs and we're doing these things on our job and we're getting a lot of accolades, we're getting a lot of attention to us based on what we're doing. But we keep asking ourselves, is this enough? Should I be doing more? What should I be doing? Where are my gifts? And we're asking these questions, and that's the meaning of this week's newsletter: success versus significance. And it doesn't matter if you are a father, grandfather, mother, um, if you have no children. Where does that all play in the significance of your life? It really should be very important. Family is important. Our faith is important, and our purpose and defining what that is something that we should all be doing. So as we examine that this week, um, I know that a lot of people are have their own definition of what they think success is. And so for us, and for when I say us, I'm meaning at a few good mentors, my organization, we really care about uplifting the young people. So that's our significance. That's why we do this thing called mentoring. And so the newsletter this week, we really dove deep into that. And so throughout my journey, like I said, I really wanted awards. I really wanted promotions. I really wanted everyone to know I put this together. I did this. I did that. And what I realized is that professionally, um, that's great. You definitely want to get those accolades when you're on the job and you're working every day and you're putting in those long hours and you get those awards and you get that time off award or you get that um, monetary award. And it's rightly so. What I always tell people is don't stop there. Don't stop there. Do not feel like just because I get this that I've arrived or I've accomplished something. I think we all should be living significant lives. And I think we were all put on this earth to live significant lives. And what I mean by that is doing something for the betterment of other people. Okay? Doing something that you're where your interests lie that can better society. And it doesn't mean running for office. It doesn't have to be something on this grand scale. It could be something simple. And so, but do something. You can do that and have your professional success as well. So, we really dove deep into that and what professional success looks like. And um, you can win professionally and still not have that personal growth. And if you're out there and if you're listening, having professional growth and I mean having those accolades professionally and still getting personal growth, I think that's the key. I think that's where we all need to be. We've seen so many people who just pour into work, 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 and then they have no personal growth. And so you'll have a much better life, I believe, if you can balance your professional journey as you climb up the ladder with personal growth. Do something else for somebody, so for somebody else. I think it's very, very important. So, success gave me validation. I'm not sure about you, but success gave me validation. Getting those promotions, getting awards at work, getting everybody saying, "Hey, Mike, you did a great job." That validates what you're doing and that you are on the right track, right? But here's the thing, and this is where when we talk about success versus significance, significance gives me a reason for waking up in the morning. Significance gives me that reason for waking up in the morning. That gives me that reason to mentor. It gives me that reason to build an organization. And so that's where that balance comes in. You can get that validation from work, but you're going to need that reason, that why. Why am I doing this? And that's where that significant part of your life has to come in. I've been blessed because I get to see kind of both worlds come together. Whereas I have success with growing a few good mentors. I have success by conducting trainings. The significant part is I get to watch people grow, and that's really what I do. And so, and another important thing, and I'm gonna dive into this a little bit in a few minutes, is you you practice what you are becoming. So if you sit around all day and you're just saying, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, and that I'll never be the head of this organization, or I'll never be a supervisor. If you keep saying to that, then that's what your mind will just obtain, and it'll fulfill that for you. Because, but if you practice structure, discipline, if you practice that I can mentality, then that's when things start to change for you. So practice what you are becoming is really key. And setting up your network of people that can help you. And at AFGM, that's really what we're hoping that our young men learn is that you got to build a network. Once you learn how to build a network, once you learn what good people look like, you can transfer that in as you get older to your job, if you're in the military, what have you, and you can then excel on your business or wherever you're working. But you got to know how to build up your network. You got doctors, right? You got a dentist, you got primary care physician, you have this specialty. Who's mentoring you? Who's mentoring you? And why don't you have one? Okay. So that's the thing is like, ask yourself that, and it doesn't matter your race, who you are, your religion, you need guidance. I know I did as a young person, and as I grew, I still need it. I still need it. But we also got to pour it back in. Um, so here's a question for you. Got to pull out my paper. Here's a question for you. Has your definition of success changed? And so I have three questions, actually. Has your definition of success changed? And this is what I want you to do this week. I want you to write these down and think about these answers to these questions. Three questions for you. How, let me see, has your definition of success changed over your life? And if so, how? Who could benefit from what you know? Whether it's somebody on your job, maybe it's somebody in your community, but who can benefit from what you know? We all have things that we can pour back into other people, but who can benefit from that? So if you have that, if I don't see too many people online just yet, but has your definition of success changed? You can replay this a little bit later. Who could benefit from what you know? And the third question, which I think is key, these are all in the newsletter, by the way, if you haven't read the newsletter, is if the applause stopped, would you continue doing your significant work? If the applause stopped, would you continue doing the work? And for me, it's an easy yes, because I'm operating from a higher power. I was telling somebody the other day, we had a board meeting, and I was talking about the time I went to talk to some of the young men at the Prince William County Juvenile Justice System. And I can tell you now that I really felt that that was me. That could have been me. And so, one of the things that I realized when talking to them is that they're smart young men. The facility was spotless clean, great staff. But the difference could possibly be just having somebody in your corner, somebody to help you. So when you say, has your definition of success changed? For me, 100%. It's not about money, it's not about accolades. It's about practicing what I want to become. Practicing what I want to become. And so every day we have to get better and see ourselves in a certain way. Hey, um, if you want a certain promotion, then you got to practice that skill to get there. If you want to be a doctor, guess what? You got to go to medical school and you got to surround yourself with doctors. But you also have to ask yourself, um, after you have obtained some level of success in your life, and I'm not talking about like a lot of money, but the next step in your evolution should be okay, what who can benefit from what I know. So I'm going to throw in the chat our um, website, and what I want you to do is is write this. Go to our website, find out more about a few good mentors in our organization, and let's start that process. Let's start that process of getting you. If you're a young man, I know school's getting ready to start. This is the time. Get yourself a mentor. Let's make this school year the best. If you're a parent and you have a young man who is between the ages of 8 and we mentor from 8 to 21, but our 9-month program is from really 8 years old to 18 years old. If you have a young man, they may not want a mentor. They don't see the benefit of it, but you do. And so sign up. It can help you. You know, if you have a coach, if you play a sport, this is kind of like, I don't like to use the word life coach, but we are here to help you navigate life and help your son navigate life. So those are the 3 questions. That's the talent, the audience question I have for you. But I have what I call Michael's challenge. And Michael's challenge is, what have you achieved? What did it teach you? And who could benefit? So I want you to help one person this week. This is the week I want you to help one person. And you can do that by signing up to be a mentor with a few good mentors, but not just a mentor. You can volunteer in other ways. So take your time, go to the website, remember the challenge this week. What have you achieved? What did it teach you? And who could benefit from your experience? Help one person this week. Okay, I'm coming to the end of this live, but I can't leave without stating a couple of things. I mentioned our 9-month program, and I mentioned practicing what you want to become. That's what we do at A Few Good Mentors. Our 9-month program is designed around our S.H.I.E.L.D.S core values: spirituality, health, integrity, education, leadership, development, stewardship. Over those 9 months, and we're starting in September with our training for our mentors. So we're going to try to get up to 20 mentors, 20 mentees. That's my goal. We're not there yet. We need about 7 more mentors. If you're in the DMV area, and if you can make it to Virginia once per month and do one-on-one mentoring in between, I need you. Your community needs you. Come join us. Go to our website, www.afgmentoring.net, and sign up today. We got to hit 20. We should be able to do that. We've been doing this for a while. What we're doing is way too important to sit back and not do anything, because we are practicing what we want to become. You want to become a leader in your community? Sign up to be a mentor. You want to give back? Sign up to be a mentor. And we need you, men out there. Let me tell you something. We tend to not volunteer much, whether it's at church, whether it's in our community. Let's change that. Going into 2027, let's change that philosophy into, we are giving back this year. This is the year that the men are going to get better. And so what I want to do is get at least 20 men. I need 20. And we're going to get the mentees. But real quick to the moms out there, or single parent dads, but I can't state it enough. Cannot state it enough. If you want a significant life, you're going to have to surround yourself with people who have been through some things and who are pouring back into your son. Good men, a few good men. Totally free, no charge. Only thing we ask is that you make your son available. Only thing we ask is that you tell somebody else about us. But we're going to take him by the end of May. We want to see progress in your son, and we will. As long as he's willing to work, then you're going to see progress. But nothing is done overnight. But I just can't. I just can't stress it enough. I really can't, because not doing anything is not an option. Trying to do the same things you were doing is not an option. Do something different. Get with an organization that truly cares about the young people. And that's a few good mentors. 1 hour per week plus our monthly S.H.I.E.L.D.S meetups. That's all it takes. A few hours per month. We can do that for 9 months. We're not even talking about 12 months, 9 months. Just a few hours per month. I know it's a sacrifice. I know you feel a little bit possibly overwhelmed, that you don't know what you would do with your mentee. We have training. We're going to be training for 4 hours, September 19th. But we got to get these applications in by the end of the month. So I know there's some apprehension if you're men. Moms might be some apprehension. Your son may not like it. Whatever the case is, doesn't matter. We're gonna work through it. Okay. One more thing for the men, because we all struggle with this. You do not have to be perfect. I want to say that plain and clear. I'm talking directly to you. You do not need to be perfect. You do need to be consistent. You do need to care. You do need to show up. But whatever you did or did not do in the past possibly does not exclude you from mentoring today. Now, if you've committed a crime, you got to take a look at that. I'm not going to say no right off the bat, but we got to take a look at that and see where you are and what actually happened. Safety is number one. Being a grandparent and a father, I take safety very, very seriously. So, but you don't have to be perfect. None of us are. I wasn't, as a husband and father, and so you do not have to be. But join the brotherhood of other men. You're going to meet other men that hopefully will help you as well. So don't worry about being perfect. We're going to train you and show you everything you need to know. And like I said, you can apply at www.afgmentoring.net. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram, TikTok, you name it. We're there. So reach out to us. A couple last things. I talked about mentors. I talked about mentees. And I told you that our program is free for parents. What we're asking is the business community to help us out. It costs about $650 per match. And we need all the donations and help we can get, even above that. We're doing a fundraiser this Friday, August 14th at Foster's Grill in downtown Manassas, right near the train tracks, is where it's located. If you mention that you're here to support AFGM, we receive 20% of the purchase. It's a big help for us. Every little bit helps us. That's going directly back into our program. It's going back into us reaching more youth. 20 mentors and mentees is what we're after. So we got to get out there and work. So bring your families, friends, coworkers. If you know somebody in the Manassas area or just in the general Northern Virginia, DMV area, come on out to Foster's Grill in downtown Manassas and support a few good mentors. Say, I am here to support a few good mentors, and we get 20% of the purchase. Last but not least, And this is very serious. Do not let your experience end with you. And what I mean by that is don't take all the gifts, skills, and abilities that God's given you to the grave. Give it back. It wasn't yours to begin with. Give back to the next generation. Don't let it go to waste. If you're good with working with your hands, maybe fixing a car, maybe fixing things around the house, a young man could use that. If you're good with uh, tying neckties and bow ties and dressing appropriately, if somebody's been telling you that, hey, a young man could use that. If you're good with writing and speaking, and a young man could use that. If you show up for work consistently every day, a young man needs to see that. If you can cook, a young man needs to see that. That's our responsibility. That's on us. Do not let your experiences end with you. Practice who you want to become. That's what we do. So, subscribe to Grow, become a mentor, become a mentee. I'll see you at Foster's Grill, hopefully, and have a blessed rest of your week. Thank you for tuning in. And look out for our next newsletter. This month is all about purpose and defining our purpose and who we are, because we are practicing what we want to become. Take care.